Okay, welcome everybody. Thanks for attending today. We are very excited to have Jay and John from Bill participating and sharing with you all of the new releases. Christine Triantos and I are on the Bill Accountants Advisory Board. They had a fabulous event in Colorado a couple of months ago, and we learned of several new releases and asked them to come in and share with our membership. And I think there was even another release announced this week. And so we know most of you are Bill users. So this is not a presentation today on how to use Bill. It's really a presentation to be updated in all the new releases that you can take advantage of, as well as any roadmap items that they are allowed to share with us as well. So with that, Jay and John, could you please introduce yourselves and we'll get started.
Appreciate it, Deneen. John Stoddard here. Yeah, I am the senior director over channel on the Bill side of the house. So I work with all the account managers that work with your firms, particularly, and some of them you've probably met in webinars and things like that. But super excited and appreciative of what Infinite Ties is doing for the community and the space for accounting firms, and excited to be able to come and talk about some of these things. I know Jay's about to introduce himself, but Jay is a superstar, rock star at Bill on our side of the house, and so I'm excited for him to be able to share some of these things. He knows what he's doing and he knows what he's talking about. So, but I'll let him introduce the firm here. But
No, thanks, John. Hi, team. My name's Jay, a solution consultant here with Bill out of Lexington, Kentucky. Looking forward to spending the time talking through new things, being able to show you, um, some of our new features, and be able to talk through maybe what's coming down the road, right? Also, I want to take some time at the end to answer any questions. Um, in regards to things that maybe you're seeing. Maybe there's things that you want to be able to communicate to someone at Bill. So I want to give you that opportunity. I know there's things that frustrate you, right? In every software, there's things that frustrate. Um, but looking forward to the time today. Are we good to jump right in, or do we need to do some more introductions?
We're good to go. Let's get started.
All right, let's get going.
Thanks, Jay.
Um, now, with you all, I understand that the majority of you are Bill experts. That you're in the software every day. That this is hopefully going to be beneficial to you, right? Of new things that maybe you haven't seen or maybe you've heard of. That we're going to dive in. So I'm not going to go through and talk about, well, how does a bill get in? How does OCR work, and how do you make payments, right? The assumption is you all are already there, um, and that's why I want to go into right off the bat something that I think was announced this summer that we're going to keep expanding is our console reporting, right? So that console is that layer where you all can manage your clients. This is for your firm specifically. You all might have multiple consoles. You might have maybe just one console, right? But in our console reporting, you should see a new tab here called reports, okay? And initially under those reports, you're going to see some KPIs and dashboards of um, things that are happening at the console level, right? So just to get our terminology around, Bill.com accounts can be called clients. They could be called orgs. We got a lot of names for them. Sometimes I slip and call them orgs, but they're clients, they're Bill.com accounts that are underneath that console, right? With our new reportings tab, you're going to see life cycles of what's going on underneath that console. You're going to see average time in inbox, time to approve, time to fund. You can adjust the past 30 days, 90 days, or you can create custom timelines with these KPIs. And then you're going to be able to see the total processed bills, average times of processing, and some other KPIs there. One thing that is pretty neat is this aging summary across all of your Bill.com accounts. Okay. So when you're looking at this, you have the ability to download or export this to CSV, but when you click into it, you can see all of that vendor aging across your Bill.com accounts, right? So if I have 23 accounts here underneath my console, I get a massive aging report where I don't need to go into individual Bill.com accounts to get that aging report. And I could choose some of those columns and I can export this list to CSV or Excel. Excuse me, CSV or Excel. I get excited because I think this report specifically, KPIs are great, those dashboards are great, but having a vendor aging report across all of your organizations in the console as an accountant, if I'm managing multiple companies, is just a really great feature. Um, I could get this raw data out in one fell swoop and one fell export, take it into Excel and do whatever I need to. So want you to be aware that these reports are there, that you can drill down to them and see the detail of those reports and always export them out of to CSV or Excel. Now on the payment type two, this will be really good at a console level because maybe there's an initiative to move to more ACH. You're going to be able to see that change of activity at a console level here for the payment type. And then you'll also be able to see bills paid by each individual employee. We're going to keep expanding this. Danny Cohen, who was at that event, I think this summer, is a great product manager that we have that's just in charge of console. He really listens to what you all have to say and the feedback that you provide. And these reports kind of reflect that feedback that we're hearing from firms. Now, those are just the KPIs. In addition to this, you're going to have console reports, okay? And you've had a few of these before, like the client user and the process bills. I want you to be aware of this report. And we've named it incorrectly. And I actually spoke with Danny about this. This should be called the missing bills report. And we're going to keep expanding on this as we keep rolling out agents and things like that. But what we hear from firms a lot is, Jay, I need to know when one of my clients, I manage hundreds of clients, right? I need to know when the utility bill didn't come in for some reason because they're going to shut the water off at one of my clients that I manage, and somehow I just missed the water bill, right? I need to know, Bill.com needs to be smart enough to say, hey, you paid that water bill the last 8 months. We're missing it right now. And this bill reminders report is that report there, and it takes a little bit to download. But run this report against your clients because that's the missing bills report. It's going to detect possibly skip bills that you usually pay regularly. I'm working with product to rename this to missing bills report. I don't know why we called it bill reminders. Then you'll have some denied bills list across all of your clients. You'll have payables and efficiencies reports, as well as that console billing. And then specifically on accounts payable, you've got the vendor transaction list, the unpaid bills list, and then payables cash detailed to help understand that cash flow. So if you haven't looked through this, take some time, go to the console, go to that reports tab, and see if these reports can be beneficial to you in regards to what you're doing for your clients on a regular basis. So wanted to highlight that from the console. Um, Sort of in line with the console is what we're calling multi-entity. All right. And I want to define this a little bit here from a multi-entity space in that if you have organizations, if you have bill accounts that are under the same ownership or under the same group, you can group them now in a container called multi-entity. Okay, and we could turn this on for you if you don't see it. But what multi-entity allows you to do is it allows you to group Bill.com accounts together. And you might say, well, Jay, that's what the console is for. The console is for those groups. But really, this is for maybe you have an owner that has 3 LLCs, for an example, and that owner doesn't like to have to go into each individual Bill.com account, right? Um, that's what this multi-entity container does. You can group them together and they will create a multi-entity organization. And it doesn't have to be a real legal organization. What happens is that now when you go to your approvals, you'll see all the bills that need to be approved across companies. So if you're familiar with Bill.com and you're familiar with those lists that we give you, hey, here are all the bills that you need to pay, right? We give you the same exact list. We just added an extra column, right, called company. So here I can approve bills for Old Trade Depot and Mach 5 from one screen. I don't have to log into each Bill.com account. So if you're a staff member that does approve across organizations, you can do this for the containers that you approve, right? And so now you hit approve and you don't have to jump into each individual company. All right. And you can filter this and do what you want. More importantly, if you pay bills across multiple companies, you can create filters here for those two companies. So for example, I can pay from the same screen bills to Old Train Depot Bill.com account and Mach 5 Bill.com account, right? And sorry, I do call it Bill.com, and it's okay if you do too. Um, and notice they have different bank accounts, right? So I'm going to pay for this bank account for Old Train Depot, and I'm going to pay from JP Morgan Chase on this account. But I don't have to flip back and forth. And for me, I always still think of, hey, I want to pay bills for this company, so I'll filter based on that company. But what's great about it is I can do that in my brain. I could say, all right, I'm paying bills for Mach 5 now because I want to just keep it consistent. And then it's so easy to just flip to the other company. It's way faster than actually flipping Bill.com accounts in your switcher, right? For those of you who flip between Bill.com accounts all day. Every day you understand that frustration that I'm describing, right? Of, hey, I need to go and pay across these companies, but I don't want to have to do that switcher. Well, you can still keep them segregated in your list, but it's so easy to just filter those. Now, I know there's a lot of individuals on the chat. Um, Thank you, Lakita. And if you have questions as I'm going through things, put them in the chat. We're going to open it up at the end for you all to ask questions or ask me to go into anything in detail. But as we're going, if there is something that you want to highlight, please put it in the chat there and we can go through it. Now, on these multi-entity containers, you will describe which users have access to this multi-entity, right? And there's basically two roles in multi-entity. There is a multi-entity admin, and then there's multi-entity member, where you can access them. An administrator has the ability to add users, right, and access all those companies. And you can choose which companies are a part of your multi-entity container, so you can link additional companies to that. And you have the ability to also add users that have visibility. So it is as simple as give me all the bills I need to approve, give me all the bills I need to pay. It's just those two aspects at the moment. It's missing one big piece in my mind, and I'm really honest. John knows that about me. I'm honest about our product. I want our product to be better. It's missing combined inbox. And our product team is aware of that, and they're releasing that early 2026. Okay. So that's the first thing that I want to describe as coming on the roadmap. To me, that's the most important thing besides line level coding, which we'll talk about here in just a second, that Bill needs, and we have it. They're working. It's in beta. It will be here. Okay. So what do I mean by combined inbox? Well, we're combining all the bills that have the similar companies. We're combining the ability to pay across those companies. But what about the inbound ingestion of those bills? That's where that combined inbox will come. And for those of you who work multiple Bill.com accounts that are under the same ownership, you know how important that will be, um, to be able to not have to flip again between different companies and just be able to come into one place and code those bills and let them go to maybe different QuickBooks files, right? Or different, whichever accounting solution you're using in one centralized place. So I know as you look at this, you see multi-entity, you're like, okay, I can approve, I can pay. What about creating the bill? And we're going to be there. We know it's really important that right when they released that, they went and started working on inbox. So multi-entities here, it just doesn't have that inbox yet. Okay, so we could come back to multi-entity, but just remember that that's available. It's just another container there. Um, Inside of Bill.com, you've probably heard about a couple of things around procurement. Um, Procurement is something new that we've released where organizations that want to have pre-approval before AP spend can create essentially purchase requests. Now, the roadmap for our procurement solution is long and in depth, and we won't get into that. And when you get into procurement, procurement can be a lot of things, right? It could be as simple as, hey, I need a form to request spend before I go and buy it, right? And then it could be as in depth as I need it to punch out to specific vendor websites, verify that that inventory is available, and then I need, once it's received, to make sure my ERP system inventory is updated and, you know, I know where everything is, right? So there's a big gambit of procurement technology. We're on this side, right? We're on the very easy side at the moment. We're on the, hey, I really don't want to use Google Sheets for check requests, right? Let me get that into a system. And that's where we are right now, just to be perfectly honest. And we are a very good fit, especially for organizations like schools and nonprofits that they require purchase requests and purchase orders, and they don't want to use Google Forms or a check request form, right? We are a great replacement of that. If you have an organization that says, Jay, look, I really need you to help maintain my inventory, we are not a good solution for that, right? And so I think it's fun to kind of walk through, what does our procurement solution look like if you haven't seen it? Okay. So from a procurement side, we will not be syncing the information you see at the moment into the accounting solution. We're changing that. Where if you do want us to sync POs into QuickBooks, we can. That's coming soon. But just to kind of give you an idea of what that procurement looks like, we're going to start with purchase requests. And if you're a user that has purchase request access and we've created a new user role for this, you could come in and you can create a purchase request, right? And we'll create one for Winterfell Consulting. We have the ability to do service dates, services, or goods. Goods will switch to items. Services are just GL accounts. You could put that service start date here of when you're ordering the goods. Or the service, right? Obviously, you could type reason for purchase, and I'm not very creative, so we'll just put test there. And then you can actually code this invoice out, right? And again, we'll put test, you put $100 here. Code that invoice out. You do have to give us a description. You can add as many lines as you want. And then you can route this bill for this purchase request for approval, right? So we'll add J here as a purchase request approval. We've also introduced purchase request policies that mimic those bill approval policies if you're aware of them. Meaning, okay, if it's over a certain amount, it goes here. If it's this vendor, it goes here. If it's this department, it gets routed to this individual. So you can put what's called purchase request approval policies in, where when users are creating those purchase requests, they get routed to the correct person. Drag and drop any files that you need to. Maybe it's a contract you're getting approved. You can drag that here. Okay, so I've got my purchase request. Again, very simple. And what that does is it creates a PR, a purchase request. That purchase request 73 is now assigned to Jay to approve. Okay, I'm going to approve this purchase request. It's going to create it as a PO, so PO 59. And at the time, I have the ability to approve and send that, and I should have here. So here is the purchase order that was created. I can send this out to a vendor now automatically through bill.com, and it will generate a PO that gets sent to that vendor. You can't create vendors yet in our purchase request module. You'll be able to here shortly. But here's the neat part about that, okay? Once you have a PO created. Once you have a PO created, so PO 59 there, when a bill comes through, that matches, and I don't have the right purchase order, so we'll just, we'll upload a document here and we'll change that PO. When a bill comes through in bill.com's inbox, all right, with that purchase order number, Bill will match it to that purchase order. Okay, so it didn't read that purchase order. It should, though. It should automatically OCR that. But you'll see when I click on this PO number field and I choose PO 59, it populates my line item detail from that PO. So it's doing a bill to a PO match in the system. And now all I have to do is confirm my bill amount, and I can see my PO remaining amount. And then when we create this bill, we'll go create this in, whichever accounting solution you're using. The purchase request, the purchase order don't sync over, but the bill will sync over and it will have that PO number on it. So our purchase request module is really great right now for our nonprofit clients that, you know, when you talk to schools a lot, and when you talk to schools a lot, they say, okay, our teachers have to create this Google form before they go and spend any money on their classroom. Well, they could just come in and create that purchase request and get it approved there, or the department leaders. What if you upload the bill.com hubdoc.com? Will it match the PO? It should match the PO. If the PO is in bill.com, our IVA, our AI should read the PO and match it, but that PO has to be in bill.com. So the purchase order detail has to be here for us to be able to match. So for ERP systems like NetSuite and Intact, we do pull that, and QuickBooks Enterprise, we do pull that PO information over, but that's the only time we pull the PO information over. If we don't pull the PO information over, they have to create that purchase request in bill.com for us to match. All right. So hopefully that gives you a good idea around the procurement. It's really good for those organizations that want to be able to have a purchase request workflow, but don't need something like a full purchase order module in an ERP system. They just need something light to where they can get approval and then they can have bills matched to that. Something new too that you're probably seeing when you log into Bill is this idea of our cash account. So we've had the bill.com virtual wallet for a really long time. Okay. That virtual wallet it was not interest bearing. It did not earn you any money. But what the virtual wallet does really well is it eliminates a day on ACHs, meaning those funds are already collected and we don't have to pull those funds from you or your client's bank account. When that money is in the virtual wallet, we will make sure that that money goes to the vendor's bank account as long as you submit it before 4 o'clock Pacific, it'll be there the next business day, right? Well, now we have made our virtual wallet, which I wish we would call it a virtual. You could tell I have issues with how Bill.com names things sometimes, um, which we call Bill Cash Account now. um, you can earn 3% APY, and you've got FDIC insurance up to $200 million. So you can, your clients can feel comfortable that that money is in our virtual wallet and it's earning really nice cash back. So when you go to pay bills in bill.com, that virtual wallet will show up as an option to pay from, and it will eliminate a day. So if I were to pay this ACH tomorrow, instead of it, well, on that it's a third. It would be there if I were to pay this on the 4th, right? I could pay that money would be there on the 5th guaranteed there, right? Where we're not waiting 1 to 2 business days for Bill.com to pull the funds out, right? So if I could actually even schedule this on the 30th because it's before 4 o'clock today, and they will have that money on the 31st if I were using that virtual wallet. Okay, I don't have to wait to pull the funds out the next day. So it eliminates a day on ACHs. It eliminates a day on checks as well. Even if we need to cut checks, it eliminates a day of that payment timing, and you can earn 3% cash back. So the way
Um,
yeah,
oh,
sorry, go
sorry,
ahead.
Jay. I was going to
Yeah.
say, there was a question on the PO if you wanted to answer that now, or we can wait to the end as well.
Yeah, I hit it.
Cool. Perfect.
Yeah, as long as those POs are in bill, and we could talk through what it takes to get those POs in bill, it will match. All right. Okay. Something that you're going to hear in the next 2 weeks, which I was hoping to be able to show you, is our W9 AI agent. Okay. And I know there is an AI webinar that we have that we're going to provide a link, or maybe we don't have the link yet. But this next month, we are going to do webinars on all of these AI agents that we're putting in the system. So I think now will be a good time to kind of talk about what's coming in regards to those AI agents. The first one that we're releasing is, well, we've released two, okay? And I can't show either of them yet. we announced them, but the release is really next week. We're releasing two this next week. One is around a W9 agent. It's an agent that will help you collect W9s from our vendors. So as you are aware today, under tax documents, under the vendor profile, you can you can request a W9. What we do there is send an email. The W9 agent is going to work to reach out to your vendors, collect those W9s, and then also, and you'll be able to control it. But then also, what I think is really neat is TIN verification. So it'll also help with TIN verification, which a lot of our organizations need, verifying that vendor's tax ID, collecting that W9 so that when you're ready to go pay those 1099s, you're good to go. So be on the lookout. We'll be able to demonstrate that W9 agent here shortly. The other thing that we're introducing and is around our spend and expense side. So we've got, and we're calling them agents. It's really a Gmail integration, right? To that, if you want to, we can monitor an individual's Gmail receipt or Gmail account to pull down receipts and auto capture any receipts that get emailed. So, for example, when I book hotels with my spend and expense credit card, that hotel emails my email address. Instead of me having to go and print those off and getting those uploaded or saving them as PDFs and getting them uploaded to spend and expense, our Gmail integration will actually look for that and automatically pull them down and attach them to that spend and expense transaction, right? So again, not anything you have to do. It's available for your clients. Just want you to be aware. I'm going to put this link in the chat. So if you do have clients on our spend and expense side that really don't want to have to deal with downloading that and are okay providing us access to read their Gmail, it's really nice, right? I do it just because I'm lazy. I know some individuals won't want us to have access to Gmail. Completely understand. It's an option there. Um, but it makes collecting those receipts so much easier. Like whenever Uber, every time I go on Uber, it just emails me. The Gmail integration will automatically grab those and attach them to my Uber that I just spent on the credit card. Now, what's coming down in regards to AI, right? AI is the really important piece. Something that we're releasing at the end of November, and we're going to keep expanding, is this idea of AI line level reading the document and suggesting GL coding. Okay, we want to make you more and more efficient. Um, Today, if you're unfamiliar with how we code bills, Bill.com will automatically capture the vendor name, and then we will populate the GL accounts based on the previous bill. We're not actually looking at the line level detail of the document. That's going to change as we add AI agents to this aspect of our solution. We will have the ability, if you want to turn it on, for us to read the line item detail and suggest the coding. Okay, hey, this is menu design. It's probably getting coded to marketing. It'll guess and then put that value there. We've had this for a long time, but we haven't been comfortable with the accuracy. The team is now comfortable with how AI has evolved on that accuracy is pretty accurate and being able to train these agents to read that line level detail. It's something that our accounting firms have been talking to us for a really long time that we need, and the team's worked really hard on it. So that's the one I'm most excited about is AI that can help actually line level code the bill. And you're going to see more iterations of that in 2026 in bill. As we know, it's the most important. All right. That is some of the ideas around AI that we're working on. Other expansions, if you aren't familiar, if you didn't do this last year, is Bill.com can do 1099s for your clients. Okay. And you have the ability to prep and file those here within Bill. If you haven't seen that tab here, you could just click on tax compliance. And when you look at this, you have the ability to adjust some of that categorization on each vendor's line. We will work with NEC and MISC, and you can see the different categories that are available, right, from the NEC and MISC. And you can change and edit those amounts that you need to report from our 1099 window. You have the ability to update those values. You can also file those here from bill.com, right? I believe we charge $1.99 for filing and then $2.99 for e-file. Don't hold me to those prices. I think that's right. But the ability to file and create those e-files within Bill is really convenient. So I'm not sure if you all used our 1099 prep and file last year, but it is here. I think we're going to try to keep expanding the categories that we offer. I know this year it's just going to be MISC and NEC. I think in the end of 2026, they want to offer some other categories that we don't offer at the moment. But we do have really great webinars on YouTube for when you're ready to prepare your 1099s. But again, it's really straightforward. You can see the values that are excluded, the NEC reportable, and then you can see what makes up those values and make any adjustments if you need to. Anything you pay by Visa or virtual card on there, you don't have to report because Visa handles that filing for you. All right. That's everything that I want to talk about on the accounts payable side, I believe. I think I'm missing. Oh, we've adjusted, you all have seen this. We've adjusted those filters and the columns. This is something that's been a big ask from a lot of our clients, right? Is the ability to add more filters here, especially location. All right. So if you have clients that have multiple locations, you can now filter those bills by that location, and you adjust the columns that you, as you're looking at those unpaid bills. Really important updates that we've made on the filtering side here. I want to switch a little bit to the spend and expense side because there's two things I want to highlight from the spend and expense side before we open it up for questions. One is reimbursements. So we are now supporting reimbursements for NetSuite, Intact, and QuickBooks Online. If you didn't hear this news, one of the biggest complaints we heard is, hey, we really need those reimbursements to also sync when we're using spend and expense, not just the spend that happened on the credit card. And we heard you, and we've now updated that. So if you aren't aware that reimbursements do sync in, they're for those three systems, they will sync. So that means that if you do have clients that are on our spend and expense platform and they use their own credit card for spend, put the reimbursement through Divvy, it will sync back now. It used to not sync there. And we also added Dynamics Business Central integrations for spend and expense. Not sure if you all have any clients on Dynamics Business Central, but we've introduced that integration as well um, to to our spend and expense platform. All right, John, did I miss anything? Anything you would like to add there before we open it up for questions?
No, I think that was very
Oh,
in-depth and yeah.
yeah, I've got one more. Um, and and this one I am pretty excited about, and something you're going to see more and more. We are updating our import export functionality when you need to export specific data out of bill.com, right? We've made it a little bit easier to create these templates. You can see what columns are part of those templates. You could choose CSV or Excel, and you could choose the type of CSV. This is going to keep expanding too, where you're going to be able to schedule your exports on a timer, right? So that it can automatically download um, exports, daily, however you need. You'll be able to see all of your templates here once you have them. You'll be able to see your export history, and you could download that file. But this is going to keep expanding this month. We're going to release more things in regards to the functionality of exporting. The thing I'm most excited about is, let's say you want a weekly download of all of your bills. You'll be able to schedule that export here shortly so that bill.com will automatically download that. Eventually, we're going to get it to where you can email that download to individuals on a schedule. So we are updating our import export functionality in Bill, and I'm excited of what's coming there. All right, sorry, that was my last thing. So I do want to open it up for questions. Questions that you have about Bill in general, questions about new features, features that you are looking for. I want this time to be open for you to say, hey, look, it would be really great if you all did X, Y, and Z. That's why we're here. We want to hear how we can make the product better. The only thing I really can't answer, I can answer a lot of things. I can't answer detailed sync error questions on the fly. That's the only thing I can't do. I know sometimes there are sync errors. I can answer a lot of them, but I'm pretty good at pretty much everything else. So do want to open it up for you all to kind of talk through what are some things you're seeing or questions you have about what we discussed.
Now's your time, everybody. But they can't come off mute, Jay. So
Oh, okay.
no,
Sorry.
but they can type any questions that they have in the webinar chat, or if there's any items that they want to talk about features and functionality that they'd like to request, you can mention that to Jay. He's a good person to put your wish list through.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
And
thanks, Jay. Go ahead.
you will not insult me. No one knows. I love Build.com. I think we're a wonderful product. But when you've been here long enough, and John knows this, we know things that you all want, and we know things that product needs to change. For example, I'll tell you one that we really fought hard is, and this seems like such a little thing, is these filters on unpaid bills. I don't know if you remember 3 months ago, 2 months ago, you could not filter on location, class, or chart of account, right? And we fought really hard with product, and they listened. So it does it does help to let us know things that you need. Are you able to turn off multi-entity if you need to? Yeah, meaning if you I, it's a good question. I'm 90% sure you're able to. If you've created a multi-entity organization, um, you should be able to unlink those companies from the multi-entity container. Yeah. And so, like my Golden Gate Enterprise, I have 4 different companies here. I can unlink them if I need to and link additional companies. Now, I'm only able to link additional companies in my multi-entity container that I have access to, right? That I have access to. Like I can't link companies that I don't have access to. So yeah, you can unlink companies from that multi-entity container if you need to. Good question. And if you haven't, I don't know if you all have any organizations that use Acumatica, or if you ever run across them. We've just added an integration with Acumatica as well from an accounting solution.
That's good. Anybody else have any questions, or we can let you go? Um, Jay or John, I did want to ask you this link that you put in here, help.bill.com. What's that link for again?
Oh, sorry. I put the article on. That is if you have clients that want to turn on, it's just a help article around the Gmail integration for our spend and expense side.
Okay.
It's, and you can search for it in help.bill.com. If you all aren't familiar with help.bill.com, it is a pretty convenient, you literally could type in anything that you want. So like, let's just say I type in QBO, or QuickBooks, whatever I need, right? You're going to see all the articles that are for that integration, right? Integration for spend and expense, integration for AP, FAQs. We do really try to do a lot of FAQs that will help. Like I tell you where I reference it all the time is international payments. I can't keep track of um, all the countries we support. So I'll come to help.bill.com. I'll search for international payments. And I go to this page maybe once a week, right? Of, okay, if we're in that currency and we're paying X, Y, and Z. So help.bill.com is really nice to just search and find those things if you're not familiar with it. Um, I use it all the time to find things that I'm looking for. That link that I was just showing you is if you do have clients that want to add that Gmail integration, we show you what's going on there. Now, John, do we have the AI webinar link, or we don't have that yet? We'll send that
Yeah,
later.
that was my question too,
Yep.
Jay.
We don't have it yet. Once we have that, I'll send it over to Infinite Ties, Deneen, or and the
Yeah,
team so they can post it in the forum.
that's what we'll do. So send it to me, and I'll make sure to post it in the forum because you said that's going to be in November. Is that coming in a couple weeks, or is that in December?
December. Yep.
December. Okay, perfect. All right. Well, it looks like we don't have any more questions. So thank you guys so much. We really, really appreciate you
Of course.
spending the time updating our membership on all the new things you're doing and what's coming. Um, and anybody that has any other questions for John or Jay, you can email me and I can connect you with them. John, actually, all of these firms have a rep,
Correct.
correct?
Yep. Yep.
And if they don't know who their rep is, do you mind sharing your email address and they can reach out to you?
Yeah,
Uh,
no
and
problem.
you might be one of their reps, but I know you manage the team. So if you guys don't know who your Bill.com accountant rep is, make sure you do and you build a relationship with them because they'll update you guys all along the way as well. Okay, so john.stoddard@hq.bill.com. Thank you guys. Have a great weekend. And
Thank you.
we'll look forward to
Yeah,
catching up another day.
happy Halloween. Thanks for
Happy
having us.
Halloween tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye, team.